Okay, welcome to this lecture. Now we are going to discuss the second part of the performance measures of the queuing model. In the previous part of this lecture, if you remember the previous lecture, that we have discussed how the performance measures are important for evaluating the service of the system. And if system is providing the optimal service, how the optimal service can be evaluated and measured, quantified. This is very important to have the discussion and interpretations about the performance measures. So today we are just continuing, resuming the same discussion. So once more we try to discuss it as that the first performance measures we discussed. The first was the expected number of customers in the system. The second performance measures we discussed the expected number of customers in the queue. And later we also discussed the expected amount of the time or the expected waiting time for which a customer is standing in the system as well as in the queue. So after evaluating and after measuring our quantification, after having the quantification of the number of customers in the system as well as expected number of customers in the system and expected amount of the waiting time, these things make us or enable us just to evaluate this service rate, the performance of the service. So whether we have to increase the service rate, we have to decrease the service rate. Suppose we have these servers sitting idle, servers are not engaged. So how to engage the services of the servers by diverting them by using their capability, engaging them and employing them for the different services. So we yesterday, if you remember, we discussed a very interesting formula. That was the Little's formula. With the help of the Little's formula, uh, we are going to discuss the expected waiting time. Expected waiting time. Expected waiting time in queue. This is an average amount of time. Average amount of the time is spent in the queue only. It is denoted by WQ and computed by this formula. WQ is equal to LQ upon lambda. Already we have discussed the Little's law. Now the very important aspect of this performance measures is that average number of busy servers. Whether the server is busy, whether we are able to utilize the service facility provided by the system or not. So this evaluation is very important for the system, the persons who are analysts of the system or persons who are using the system. So one is the users of the system and another who is developing and analyzing the system, that is analyst of the system. So for both of them, from research point of view, from application point of view, this performance measure is very important. So what is this? Just you look at this very point, WS is what the expected amount of waiting time in the system for a customer. This is what in the queue, expected amount of time in the queue and plus average time in the service. Because the customers who are standing in the queue, what is the any customer who is standing in the queue, he is giving the waiting time as well as the customer who is engaged in the service. So this time, the time in the service taken, the time in the queue, standing in the queue, it both is, sum of both is equal to WS. Okay, then what is the average time in the service per customer? You just look this for your clarification and interpretation. We have given this new service, new number of service is given in unit time, maybe hour, maybe minute, maybe per day, whatever it is, unit. So in one service, we are interested in one service, single or individual service. So 1 upon mu time. So this is 1 upon mu is taken here. This is very important. So WS is equal to WQ plus 1 upon mu. And later lambda WS, later is lambda WS lambda WS is equal to WQ plus 1. You multiply both sides by lambda. So if we multiply both sides by lambda, what will happen? By the Little's formula, this is LS. By the Little's formula, this is LQ. And this is a different quantity or factor which is coming out. So LS minus LQ is equal to lambda upon. What is LS minus LQ? LS is the total size of the queue, and this is the size of the only waiting line. So when we subtract the average number of customers from the system and of the queue of the waiting line, this gives the average number of busy servers. How? Here we are subtracting the customers, but here we are getting the result in terms of the busy servers. How? It is denoted by C cap is equal to lambda upon mu. So C cap or C bar is equal to lambda upon mu is equal to rho. This is very, very interesting performance measures of the queuing system. How we can understand it? By the example. For example, let LS is equal to 10. Total number of persons are standing in the system as well as in the queue is 10. Total number of customers who are standing in the queue is 9. So how many customers are engaged? Only one customer is engaged with the server. Means number of busy server is equal to 10 minus 9 is equal to 1. Again, this is number of customer. This is number of customer. This is number of customer. Then how we are going to the busy server? Because one customer is being engaged by the one server. And therefore, either we talk in terms of the server or we talk in terms of the customer, meaning is the same. Means that is one customer is busy. You just look at one customer is busy with one server. Or vice versa, we can say one server is busy with providing service for one customer. So if there is one customer who is engaged in the service, meaning thereby one server is engaged with the service, means he is busy. So number of customers busy means busy in the service means number of servers are busy in providing the service. Because one customer, one server. This is one-one correspondence. Service is the one-one correspondence. You can't say that one server will provide the service to the several persons. No, it is not possible. And therefore, by this we can come to the discussion of busy servers with the help of the customers engaged in the service. So in this way, we come to the next point here. This is popularly known as this characteristic, means rho, also known as load factor or traffic congestion. This is very important. Okay, then facility or servers utilization, whatever facility we are provided, whether it is completely utilized or partially utilized, this has to be measured by us with the help of this number of servers in the service. So when busy facility or busy numbers of servers is related, you look at how we define it. When the busy number of busy servers is related to or associated to total number of servers engaged in the service, that is called that is called a that is called a I mean utilization of the service. Total number of servers working in the system, it is said to be facility utilization or utilization of servers. It is denoted by CU. It is denoted by CU and computed by CU is equal to U, busy server. This is number of busy service. This is total number of servers. So it is busy and this is total, and therefore let total number of server is 3. Example, you just look here, and number of busy servers is 1. Then facility utilization is what? 1 by 3. Facility utilization is 1 by 3. You look at how much, what is percentage of this percentage is only 33%. So out of 3 servers, if we are using only 1 server, the utilization is only 33%. So what about the 67%? That 67%, if we are able to compute, since this is a very simple problem, therefore manually we are able to compute this, percentage of the service utilization. Otherwise, if system is very complex and lengthy, we cannot compute it directly manually. So we will take the help of the computing. And this measure will tell us what? This characteristic is important for us because we are just going to analyze the idle time of the facility. Idle time means 2 servers are idle, not engaged in the service. So it is the responsibility of the manager of the service system that these 2 servers must be employed, must be engaged somewhere to provide the growth to the service, growth to the system. If they are sitting idle, means growth will be negative, and therefore system is not fruitful for the society as well. And therefore, after analyzing this point, what we decide to optimize their idle time in some other services. So if you are busy and similar services are, you are not engaged, similar services are vacant somewhere, so your energy, your capability will be deployed to that point of the service. And the next one is very interesting performance measure is the variance of customers in the system. We look at if there is variance is what is the literal meaning of the variance. We have seen several formulae about the variance, about the mean, about the standard deviation. But what is the variance or the what is variation if in general or literal sense? What is the physical significance of the variance? Physical significance of the variance is, or literal concept of the variance is, that there is a fluctuation taking place in the system. Fluctuation or scatteredness. There is no homogeneity. There is no any system or uniformity in the changes, and therefore that kind of change is very important to notice. If it is not uniform, if it is not systematic, and And keeping this in mind, we have to also study the fluctuations in the arrival of the customers. Fluctuation means if we have fluctuation in the number of customers joining to the service, meaning thereby number of customers or expected number of customers are involved. This factor is involved in almost each and every performance measures. So if fluctuation is taking place, there is no constant arrival of the customers in the system, meaning thereby this is going to affect, or this is amounting, or this results in fluctuation of other performance measures used by the queuing system. So fluctuation in number of customers amounts to fluctuation to others, to other parameters or performance measure, and therefore it is very important, it almost becomes imperative to study this part. And so much so, the cost factor, total cost of the system, you will see right now that its performance measure is also based, also dependent on this fluctuation of the customers, and therefore total cost, including the other parameters, parameters of the performance measures, are affected by this fluctuation of the customer, and therefore variance is very important to study. Variance means the error will be affected, the accuracy, the precision of the system will be affected. You must be knowing, and you must be studying the variance in detail in the statistics. So variance formula, what we use the variance formula? We use the variance formula Vx is equal to, this is the simple formula of the variance, if you remember, 1 upon n sum over I xi minus x bar whole square. This is the formula for the variance, simple and basic definition of the variance. But this is not a computational form of variance formula. The formula of the computational form is 1 upon n sum over I xi square minus x bar whole square. This reduces the number of steps of the computation, and therefore it is a computational formula. Here the number of steps is more as compared to number of steps in this formula, and therefore in computing we always prefer the less number of the procedure which involves the less number of steps. Less number of steps means less number of variables, and therefore the computing time of the CPU, central processing unit, becomes lower, and therefore we always prefer the computational form of the formula. So this is the in terms of the expected value, we have expected x square minus expected x whole square. Now this formula we use here in the variance analysis of number of customers. You look at Bn is equal to expected n square, here x square, here n square, because the random variable is here n, and the expected n whole square. This formula will be used for a specialized model of queuing system when we are going to discuss one by one the specialized or particular model of the Poisson queue. Then we will compute all the performance measures of the queuing model under the discussion. So the last performance measures, and the very important, is the total cost of the system. As we know that without the cost, any system cannot sustain, cannot survive, and therefore the analysis and interpretation of the cost analysis is a must for any system which is involving this service. Without cost, service cannot be provided, and therefore it is the most important aspect of the discussion. At a research level, this is given a great deal of discussion at research level, but at the postgraduate level, I think this performance measures is not used a great deal of time, but in the research it is used, it is sufficiently used, and there this aspect is very important from research, survey, or the project, etc. at this level. So what happens here? The total cost. If you look at this very point, there are two important costs in the queuing system. As you know that is one is the waiting cost and another is the service cost. But both of the costs are opposite in nature because the one cost increases then another decreases. For example, if you increase the service cost, meaning thereby you are increasing the number of servers. If we are increasing the number of servers, the waiting cost is going to down because the customer has to wait least, but service cost is going high. So service cost is going high mean the service provider cannot afford too much cost raised indiscriminately. So you cannot increase the cost of the service indiscriminately according to the need and demand of the customers. Though it is very important in the interest of the customer, but system has no any budget to afford this very cost. So what should be? It should be that there must be a compromise in between the service cost and the waiting cost. According to the demand, we cannot increase the service cost. Also, according to the service provider, we cannot decrease the service cost because the service provider always wants to decrease the service cost because it will save the money for the server, for the service provider. So also we are not going to let it happen. We are not going to make it happen because if you are saving the money, it means the queue will be very high. The customers will be waiting and they will be waiting, and waiting cost will be too high. So they are opposite in nature. We cannot control both of the cost at a time. And therefore, this becomes imperative to discuss the cost in combination. We cannot talk about the cost in individual interest. We can discuss the cost in combination so that we can have the compromising result or compromising solution. So you just take the formula, the waiting cost plus service cost. This gives the total cost. What is waiting cost? The C1 into expected number of customers in the system, and then this will give you the total cost of the waiting. C2 into service rate. This will give you the service cost, where C1 is a waiting cost per unit and C2 is the service cost per unit. So this cost is total cost is going to be analyzed now. This is important for us, not in isolation. Here, if you look, what will happen here? This is the service cost. This cost, we increase the number of servers. Number of servers lies on the x-axis. Number of amount of cost lies on the y-axis. You look here. If you increase the number of servers, means if you increase the service cost, means the number of servers are increasing. Then at the same time, if you look at here, this will decrease the waiting cost somewhere here. And service cost is somewhere here. You just look at this point. This is the service cost. This is cost means this is the service cost. But waiting cost is what? This is waiting cost. This is the service cost. So this cost is high. You will say waiting cost little bit more. You can little bit lesser. So here you go to waiting cost. So waiting cost is going to be lower and lower, but you look at the service cost is going to be lower. So this is not going to happen. We are not going to let it happen, and therefore we are going to we are going to discuss it in combination, and therefore we explore here the clashing interest are compromised. Where it is compromised, this is compromised. Here we are compromising neither this side nor this side, and therefore this is a total optimal cost. Now this is a total optimal cost. This is a graph of the total optimal cost. This is a service cost. This is a waiting cost. This is a cost on y-axis. This is number of sales. So in this way, these are the total optimal. This is the total number of performance measures, which are popularly also known as operating characteristics, the measures of effectiveness, the measures of the performance. There are several names, nomenclatures we used for the Ewing system performance measures. We will evaluate, we will find the value of the performance measure for a particular model when we are going to discuss. So I think for this much today is enough for this lecture. If you have